astrotheology course. Our textbook is still The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC, the Christ Figure. The author is Bill Darrell-El. So let's pick up where we left off, y'all. Page 21. Gemini. Okay? So if you don't know what this is about, go back and watch the last, I guess, 3 or 4 videos where we've been discussing this table. Critically important table. So we're going to go through it, okay, piece by piece, bit by bit. So according to the author's judgment, Gemini, the Gemini section of Mark's Gospel begins at Mark chapter 4, verse 35 through chapter 6, verse 29. Okay, so that's the Gemini section. So as you should know, you should remember by now, those of you who have been following my work on astrotheology. Now, keep in mind, there is a difference. Let me rephrase that. I'm known for Ancient Ibaryath. And someone asked me, why am I spending so much time on astrotheology? And astrotheology is New Testament. Well, the first answer, my first response would be that in order to understand the Hebrew scriptures, especially the book of the law, that's the basis for all of the other books, right? That's what the scholars tell you. You have to understand the astrotheology because it is there. It is there. Okay? Check Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. The easiest verse to understand is the Amplified Bible version. So I have that quoted in the description area of this video. Okay? So y'all go check that. So there are lies that are written in the book of the law. That's my point. So many of the stories that we think are historical, they may be partially historical. Who knows? None of us were there. But definitely you will see the astrological components embedded in those stories. Okay? So it's up to you as a Bible translator, as a man or woman sprung from the soil and autochthonous more. It's up to you to reclaim your heritage. It's up to you to get outside. Let me rephrase that. It is up to you to return to the Most High. Nobody can do that for you. Okay? You've got to invest the time, energy, effort, and finance into doing that yourself. That's right. It is not free. It is not free. You got to remember, you're in the curses. You don't have an inheritance right now. It's been stolen from you. So you're in the covenant of work, in the covenant of labor. Why? Because you intentionally, or like most of us, unintentionally, have broke the contract, the Mosaic covenant, right? So you're in the curses. You got to pay for everything. No more free. No more free. So it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you to reclaim it. And that should be common sense, right? That should be absolute common sense. Okay? There's no something for nothing. So let's continue. But my point is this. I almost forgot. When you get into the Ibaryath, you'll see the astrotheology. Okay, you'll see the astrology and you'll see the astrotheology. In other words, how the cosmos and natural phenomena have been deified, anthropomorphized. you'll see it, but you need to go into the Ancient Ibaryath, and you need to understand natural law. You need to understand the cosmos. You need to understand the mythology associated with that. Now remember, natural law is not just weather storms, chemistry, physiology, and there's much more to it. There's consciousness and the natural laws that govern consciousness, okay? So we have to be familiar with all of this in order to remove all of the lies, okay? Jeremiah warned us. It's memorialized at Jeremiah 8, chapter 8. There are lies that are written into the book of the law. So, I'm taking everyone through astrotheology. But there are many more levels. There are many more. The Bible has many more dimensions to it than just astrotheology. Like I said, there is the etymological one, right, or the linguistics. There's the cosmology or the astrology, the astrotheology. There's also anatomics or anatomy, right? So there's a lot of stuff in here. But the most detrimental, the one that keeps us in the curses and the punishments is the astrotheology. So that's why I'm doing it. All right? Excuse me, I just drank something really sweet. This is iced tea. It's very sweet. Usually I don't order it. I should have ordered something else. All right. So y'all hear two men in the background. They're playing games on their cell phone. Grown men. That's what you're listening to. Okay, so let's continue. So I hope everyone sees the point. Why I'm spending so much time on astrotheology. Okay, that's why. You have to be able to see it. And you also have to be able to what? Break the spell. You have to be able to break the spells. And astrotheology will help you to do that. Okay? So anyway, let's continue. Gemini. The Gemini section of Mark begins on chapter 4, verse 35, and ends at chapter 6, verse 29. The main incidents in these verses that indicate Gemini are, there's a theme of duality. Duality means twos, right? Dual, two, also what? Duplicity, deception, and deceit. For example, you are two-minded or double-tongued. Deception, deceit, what else? If you're double-minded, what does that mean? That means you're indecisive. You say one thing, and then you say something else. Okay, so you're indecisive. There's a double miracle. Y'all remember that? This is the only instance of a double miracle recorded in the Gospels. So there's the woman with the flow of blood. Y'all remember that? And then there's the cure of Jairus' daughter. So there's a double miracle. So there's two. Then there's the theme of close family. So the theme of close family, we know that's Gemini, right? Because Gemini can be any two people in close relation to each other. It can be two literal twins. It can be two brothers who are not twins. It can be a brother and a sister. It could be a man and his consort. Any two people who have a close relation, okay, does not have to be blood. The point is they have a close relationship, meaning that they have what? Some obligations or responsibilities or some ties to each other. That signifies Gemini. Clear? Gemini also has to do with what? Indecisiveness, things that have to do with your mind. Gemini can be, or is close, very similar to Pisces. Pisces has to do with water, so water would deal with what? Emotions. So that's the way you can separate or distinguish one from the other, or be able to recognize elements of both. Like we did a few videos ago when JC the Christ figure sent out 2 of his disciples. Remember? So let's see what else. The apostles were sent out in 2s. So there it is. Apostles are sent out in 2s. That's Gemini, right? 2. And then Herod's vacillation. Now let's go to the key words. Keywords. Herod's vacillation, I have to check into what that is. I don't have any thoughts on that. When it comes to me, I'll share it. Okay, so the keywords and phrases that signal Gemini. The twins, two-ness, and short journeys. Short journeys. I'm not clear about the short journeys, but I'm going to check it out. Okay, we'll see what we can find. Nothing comes to mind right now. Sibling relationships, so we covered that. Indecision, we covered that. And communication. So the communication component would be what? The double-mindedness. The indecision. So they say one thing, do another. Promise something, and then don't follow through. Or do the exact opposite. Y'all see it? That's Gemini. Well, so let's now go into the chapter on Gemini. See what we can get. All right, let's see what we come up with. We're on page 85, y'all. Page 85. So here's the glyph. For Gemini is shaded. All right. So this is 2 pillars that are separated, but they are joined at the bottom and the top. All right. Looks like a Roman numeral 2. A Roman numeral 2. Okay, so let's get into this. I think we went through this a little bit before, and a couple videos ago. Maybe 2 videos ago, I think I went through this, so I'm not going to cover this aspect. Only this. The Greek prefix dys, as in dyspepsia, dis, and the Latin dis, so those are equivalents as in dishonorable, are both derived from duo, that's spelled D-U-O, are both derived from duo, okay? The cognate bis, so you hear the bis and the dis, that's why they're cognates, they sound phonetically similar sound. Gives a pejorative sense to such modern French words as bivouac, which means blunder, literally two-sided or two-minded, right? So the person who's double-minded, or they have what? Two-sided, okay? They're going to be going in different directions and accomplish nothing, make a lot of mistakes, so blunder. Okay, if you follow them, you'll be in trouble, right? You get bad outcomes. Clear? dubious, and doubt. Okay, so let the man who has doubt know that he won't get anything. Right? The worst thing you can do, or among the worst things that you can do, is doubt yourself. Okay? Dubious means unclear. It's not clear. You don't know. That's the mind of the Gemini. Okay? So this type of person, would they be acting in honor or dishonor? They would act mainly in dishonor, right? They would be dishonorable. Now you see why it's dishonorable. Okay, dishonorable, that's, if you relate that astrotheologically, that's what? You look at the solstices, right? So that puts you in the cold, dark winter, December 21. Evil, wickedness, all right? Satan is the opposer on the opposite end of the same line as the Christ, right? So these people would be dishonorable, and they would go against, they would obstruct and sabotage people who are acting in harmony and honor. Y'all see that? They would disrupt, obstruct, go against in any way people who are acting in honor. Okay? So we get a lot from this, just with this word study. Okay? So there's another author, Bunyan, who refers to Gemini as being facing both ways. Facing both ways. What are both ways? Well, one might be forward and backwards. Okay? They're facing forward and backwards. How are you going to move forward when you're looking backwards? Right? You need to burn all boats. Burn all your ships. And move straight ahead in the direction of your goal if you're going to have strong masculine energy. Right? If you're looking backward, your effort is what? Split in half. And you're driven by emotion. Y'all got that? You'll be driven by emotion. Whatever it is that you are afraid of, you're afraid of what? The future, because of the trauma of the past. Okay? Afraid of the future because of the trauma of the past. In other words, you will not have clearly defined, measurable goals. You just won't do it. Measurable meaning dates that you're going to accomplish them by. Action steps. Milestones. Okay? Major outcomes. You won't have these things. So your I am. Now remember, the I am exists outside of your physical body. The me aspect, me as in my flesh, right? My book. That's here, but the I am is the decision maker who tells the me what to do. And that's located, according to modern science, outside of the body. So that's consciousness. Some people refer to that as collective consciousness. Okay? Or what? You can even say infinite intelligence. You are a part of that. Some people call it the all. Doesn't really matter. The fact is that the I am, the decision maker, is located outside of your physical body. That means it's non-local. If it's non-local, what does that mean? Non-local. That means it's in one place, but no place at the same time. How about that? Local, that's your me, your ego. Y'all see it? See how it works? So the me can have a very poor understanding or no understanding of who I am is. They don't know themselves. They don't know their bloodline. They don't know their birthright. They don't know anything. So they're sitting ducks to be taken advantage of by masculine energy directed toward them with the intent to overpower their weak masculine energy, just like I talked about in the last 3-4 videos. Put thoughts into their minds, beliefs and values enter their minds, i.e. religion, no matter which one it is, Catholicism, any of the branches of Catholicism / Christianity, the Muslim religion, doesn't matter which religion. And then you begin to believe that those thoughts are your own. And the behavior that you engage in, your likes and dislikes, you think that those are your own, but in fact they're not. They're not. Natural law is being used against you. How does this correlate with us? Autochthonous Moors, Genesis chapter 2, sprung from the soil, the rightful heirs. What's the correlation? How does it relate? Well, the relationship is this. If you are dishonorable, you bring the curses against you. The Mosaic law clearly tells you that. The Most High's commandments, his instructions, are natural law. I may have done it, I don't know if I did it on YouTube, but in my class I've done it several times. I've shown that the Most High's instructions, y'all call them the commandments, it's natural law. So you break natural law, you live out of harmony with natural law, you're going to get punished. And it's clear as day in Ancient Ibaryath. That's why I'm doing the project to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath in modern English so that I can show you, and you can see for yourself, where the natural law is at play. And you can demystify and despookify all the brainwashing that you have undergone since birth. So that's why astrotheology is so important. Astrotheology gives me the opportunity to, one, reconnect you with nature, show you that nature and natural phenomena and natural law, the laws that underpin everything on planet Earth and in the cosmos, are right there in the book of the law. And these curses or punishments, death, disease, poverty, fear, trauma, denationalization, Escheat, bills of attainder, all of it is in the book of the law. Estate, trust law, all there. All there. It's just hidden. But astrotheology provides a platform for me to show all of this information. I can show you the 7 Hermetic laws. Y'all see it? Because what? All religions, all are based upon the Zodiac and the sun. All. Okay? All right, so once the natural law, let me rephrase that. What we call the Bible is really a science book. Natural phenomena and the natural laws that govern them. It has been converted into a history book. It has been converted into a history book with external deities that you need to serve. Okay? So if we remove, if I can show you that this biographical information, these stories about people who allegedly live, if I can show you that they are in fact just stories, that puts you much, much closer to returning to the Most High. That puts you in a position where you can make a confident decision to return to the Most High and not be afraid of religion, not be afraid of these demons and devils and all of these things. And if you have demons in your life, there's a reason why they're there. It's because you're invoking them. So once you learn everything that I am teaching, you can stop invoking them and they'll go away because they're not in your consciousness. Okay? And when you invoke them, you invite them into your consciousness. Okay? Not only that, but when you believe something, it becomes real in your life. Okay, so let's get back to Gemini. All right. So I want to go to the part on, I think it's kith and kin. I don't know what page it's on. Give me 1 second, let me find this. Kith and kin. Yes, kith and kin. Page 97. Page 97. All right. Now remember, page 21, Gemini, the author gave us key incidents and key words. So let's try to find some of this, okay? So kith and kin, page 97. We read here, in classical astrology, Gemini is associated with brothers and sisters. Y'all see that? So it's not just twin brothers. Clear? The third house of the horoscope, over which Gemini has natural rulership, is generally consulted by astrologers. These are not modern day newspaper astrologers who will give you a horoscope and all of the hocus pocus and crazy stuff. I don't even know what your word to use. Crazy stuff that you see associated with astrology. It's not talking about that. It's talking about the science, the natural science. You know, when I went to India, I was searching for someone to teach me about nativity charts. I wanted to investigate them, see what they're about. One of the things that I learned is that to do these things, they're doing mathematics. Yeah, mathematics. Geometry. Geometry. To produce the nativity charts, the birth chart. Geometry, y'all. Heavy geometry. In fact, they told me that the geometry can be so complex and it can be so much that you have to be careful about who you're dealing with. That's right. And y'all thought it's devils and demons. But they're doing mathematics, geometry, the same geometry that you or your heirs are doing in school or have done in school. See that? That's what they told me. Yeah, geometry. Is you're measuring angles. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so the third house of the horoscope, over which Gemini has natural rulership, is generally consulted by astrologers for information about sibling relationships. Okay, so we established that. Now let's move down into the next paragraph. It says here, sorry about that. I need to cover this for you all. Its sphere of life has a correspondence with the principle of Mercury and the adoptive and communicative attitude of Gemini. Adoptive and communicative attitude of Gemini. So we see the communication, right? Hence, it also relates to activities and matters connected to one's need to relate and adjust. So to relate and adjust is adaptive, right? And to adjust oneself to the immediate environment created by circumstances involving, note, near relatives, such as brothers and sisters, and note this, casual acquaintances. So for example, two friends, not acquaintances, two friends. Well, let's use casual acquaintances because that's what they use. See, there is a level, you see this. I don't know, when I was younger, it used to be that if you said something to one person, there was an expectation of privacy. Let's say you're on a telephone call, or you're having a conversation, let's say with someone face to face. They record it. That was illegal. I don't know if it's still illegal. But years ago, maybe in the 90s, that was illegal because there's an expectation of privacy. Okay? But I think if there's 3 people or more on the phone, then you can't say there's an expectation of privacy. Okay? So adaptive communication. I lost my place. So let me go back. It says that Gemini relates to activities and matters connected with one's need to relate and adjust oneself to the immediate environment created by circumstances involving family and friends / casual acquaintances, okay, and neighbors. Y'all see that? Activities will be of close communicative nature. So here we see it again. Communication. Short journeys, so there it is. All right, so Gemini is associated with short journeys too. Direct mental contact. All right, so that's another way to distinguish Gemini from Pisces. And I suspect that where you find Gemini, you'll probably find Pisces, because you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Y'all see it? Because they have so much in common. So mental, if it's mental, it distinguishes it or signals it to be Gemini. If it involves short journeys, Gemini. If it involves a close communication, Gemini. If it involves water, Pisces. If it involves emotion, Pisces. Okay? So know how to differentiate one from the other. Okay, now let's go. So we have confirmed. Let's go back to page 21, y'all. Okay, page 21. We confirm the short journeys. We confirm the theme of duality. I skipped over the man with the legion, but y'all should know the man who had the legion, all of the demons inside of him in the cave, right? That was one of the, well, I'll come back to that later. So the two twins, Gemini, short journeys, two-ness, I think we can include two-ness in there. Sibling relationships, we confirm indecision, and we confirm communication. Okay, so we covered a lot. That was quick, really, really fast. So let's continue. Let me see if I can scan through and see anything else that's interesting. Okay, here's a good point. The symbolism is quite easy to understand. Gemini, the twin, represents all those who spring from the same source as ourselves. That would include a whole bloodline. A bloodline is a nation, right? Right? We're sprung from the soil. We were given our own land allotments by bloodline. Okay? Those who spring from the same source as ourselves. So that means what? A Moor and a hybrid would not be Gemini. Or would we say that they would, that they are Gemini? Because the hybrid is comes from the egg of a Moabite woman and the sperm of a chimpanzee. I would say that they're not, because they cannot inherit land. Okay, in law, a hybrid cannot inherit land. Therefore, it's not in the bloodline, because land passes through the bloodline. Clear? So a hybrid and a Moor, these two cannot represent Gemini. As any hybrid. Okay, now let's continue. It says that those who spring from the same source as ourselves, who are twin, who are our twin selves. Notice that, y'all. Each Moor is your twin and my twin. There are twin selves. How can that be? How can it be? Remember the I am that exists outside of the body, outside of the flesh? That I am? The all? Well, we are all condensations. Condensations. Let's say of the Most High, housed in our physical body. Hence you're the Christ and I'm the Christ. Some people call it infinite intelligence. Some people call it just what? Consciousness, awareness. So in that sense, we're the same. And when you get to that level of understanding, when you look at someone else, you will recognize that you are they and he or she is you. That probably sounds way, way out there to many of y'all, but that's just a fact. Okay? Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Consciousness is energy. So consciousness cannot be created or destroyed. It always was. There never was a time when man was not. Y'all see the point? So we are part of that consciousness that's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Localized in our fleshly bodies, the me and the I am. The I am is the decision maker. You know? Okay. Let's see. Give me 1 second. So yes, it says the symbolism is quite easy to understand. Gemini, the twin, represents all those who spring from the same source as ourselves, the bloodline, who are our twin selves. That happens to be true in nature, y'all, whether actual twins or not. In addition, since Gemini rules those who are separate but joined. Separate but joined. See, we are separate in terms of our physical bodies, but we are joined by what? By bloodline and by contract. Contract is we must follow natural law. Why? Because we are the soil made manifest. We are nature. So if you're nature, how can a tree decide that it's not going to follow natural law? What happens if a tree, or if you start to do things that are unnatural to the tree? It's going to be detrimental to the tree, right? What's the same with us? If we start to do things that are unnatural, it's detrimental to us. Nature begins to work against us. Y'all see it? Through the law of cause and effect. Let me not say that. That's actually not technically correct. You'll be able to see it most prominently. The law of cause and effect will make it clear to you. That's the easiest law to see. Okay, but the other laws will also be working against you too, whichever ones that are at work. But remember, actually, there's only one law. There's 7 expressions of it. Okay? So that one law, that unified law, will work against you. Okay? But anyway, let's continue. It says here, its association with the immediate family becomes apparent. So if you see something about immediate family members, mother, father, and siblings, sisters and brothers, right? You know automatically that's Gemini. Okay, when you read any text, Bible or other scripture, Gemini. Okay. Note this. In view of this, we can see the reason why JC, the Christ figure, rejects demoniac's request, that's the demon infested man, to become his follower. Y'all see that? And enjoins him instead to tell his friends, those closest to him, what the capital Lord had done for him. Very interesting, right? Let's see if there's anything else worth talking about? Oh, okay, short journeys. So let's take a look at short journeys. One of the key words was short journeys. So this is coming from Mark chapter 6, verse 4 through 6. JC said to them, only in their own towns. So it's your own town, it's a short journey. It's not like you're going from New York to California. Only in their own towns, among their relatives, family, right? And in their own homes, family, close relationships, are prophets without honor. He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Okay? All right. Here's another good point. Here's another good point. It says here, I'm on page 97 still. I'm in the paragraph in the middle of the page, almost a little bit less than halfway down. It also enables us to see the significance of the episode which opens chapter 6 of Mark. JC returns to his hometown. Okay, he returns to his hometown. That signals Gemini, right? Hometown, your friends are there, your family is there. Okay? Only to be rejected by those closest to you. Okay? So you see the communication element there? Y'all see it? All right? So JC reached out, communicated what he had, and they rejected him. The people who knew him as a boy cannot understand where his wisdom comes from. And even his own brother, there we are, his own brother and his own sister were offended at him. Mark 6:33. So now we see Gemini again. Y'all see it? So this concept applies not to just New Testament. It applies to the Old Testament too. You can find astral theology, you can find Gemini in the Old Testament. The author has laid it out on how to do it. And I'm giving you my 2 cents. Trying to make it more easy to understand, trying to demonstrate, explain. Y'all see? So this is why astral theology is important. It's just not a New Testament thing. Astral theology is in the Old Testament. And if you want to understand these stories, if you want to be able to find and correct Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8 occurrences, you need to know this information. You need to know how to spot each of the 12 zodiac signs. How do you do it? By knowing their characteristics. By knowing the mythology, which is really hidden history, associated with each of the zodiacs. You need to know at the most fundamental level that all of these religions are based on the zodiac. There are 12 zodiac signs, and the sun, the S-U-N, sun, the disk, the orb in the sky that gives us light. And when it goes down, we get night. That sun, these are each of the deities, all of the solar deities. They're telling the same story with the same major themes. Only the details change. And that's based upon culture. So in China, you'll see one thing. Why? Because they had a different culture. and a different language or different dialect. You see something different in Europe. You see something different in the Americas, so on and so forth. But the same stories. They wrote it all down. Like I said, in my opinion, they wrote them all down at the same time. Only changed the detail, adjusted it for culture. That's why all of this stuff is searchable by etymology and mythology and anatomy, so on and so forth, okay? Now let's see if there's anything else interesting. Well, I'll skip that. Y'all can read the last paragraph on page 97 and see if you get it. See if you get it. Okay, now 2 by 2. So on page 21, we see two-ness, right? The zodiacal word two-ness. Page 98, subheading 2 by 2. The narrative continues with JC sending out the disciples, quote unquote, 2 by 2. This is Mark chapter 6, verse 7. Their mission is to preach repentance, to heal the sick, and cast out demons. Notice this, y'all. Notice this. They're not to take anything with them for the journey except a staff. And they are to wear only sandals. Take note, they are not to wear 2 coats. They are not to wear 2 coats. Two-ness. JC sent them out by twos. They are not to wear 2 coats. That's Mark chapter 6, verse 8 and 9. Y'all see that? Okay. So it was walking distance, so that's a short journey, right? That's a short journey. Also symbolic of Gemini, as we discussed a few minutes ago. Notice this. Another good point. Note, it is appropriate that the apostles are sent out to proclaim. Proclaim. Key word, proclaim. The apostles are sent out, remember, 2 by 2, to proclaim the message. Now, if you proclaim a message, isn't that you're communicating? Verbal communication, right? Go back to page 21. One of the key zodiacal words is communication for Gemini. We covered that. So here again, we see in the story, embedded, hidden, you need to think, analyze in order to see communication. Okay? So that you can see that this is another Gemini element. It is appropriate that the apostles are sent out to proclaim the message of the kingdom in this section on Gemini. Since Gemini and its ruler Mercury both concern communication. Now, y'all, is this more than just coincidence? In my opinion, this is way more than coincidence. There's too much Gemini stuff happening here to be coincidence. Okay? Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so the author is here saying about a little bit further down than halfway down the paragraph, the two coats may mean that the apostles should not be double-minded. Warning against double-mindedness and inconsistency. Yeah, I'm gonna go, but then you don't show up. Or yeah, I'm gonna go, but you're not prepared. Let's say you didn't study. Like when I was in the religion that I was in, we used to go street corner, door to door, all of that kind of stuff. You can prepare, and you get a better result than if you don't prepare. Or you can go, but you really don't want to go. Just doing it mechanistically or mechanically. So double-minded. Or being a hypocrite, right? That might be, according to the author, the meaning of this don't take two coats. Another instance suggestive, or not suggestive, but identifying this section as Gemini. Let me read this. This is coming from Mark chapter 6, verse 10. It says, this is further emphasized in JC's command to quote, unquote, remain in one house in each city that they visit. Again, that's Mark chapter 6, verse 10. So remain in one house. So be single-minded. Be single-minded about the kingdom. And then, of course, house having to do with family, right? So Gemini. Not to felt about from place to place, like those whose lives have no direction or purpose. So like I remember when we used to go out, we used to call it the field ministry. You can go out in the field ministry, so you're out going door to door, street corner, work, all that stuff. But then you go visit friends, you go to the restaurant, you go do this and you go do that, all of this stuff in between. That's what this reminds me of. Okay, so remain in one house. Okay, remain in one house in each city that they visit, not to felt about from place to place, like those whose lives have no direction and purpose. Okay? So when we relate this to the mind sciences, this is telling us what? Be focused on your definite purpose in life. Be consistent. Work at it every day. Every day until you achieve it. Do all your action steps. If it ain't working, figure out why not. If you don't know why not, do something else. And keep going. Every day you are working at it. Every day you're working toward your definite major purpose in life, right? Your goal. That gives you what? That gives you a strong masculine I am energy. Y'all see that? It gives you a strong masculine I am energy. And that will not be overcome by someone else's masculine energy so that it could interact with yours. No, your masculine energy will interact with your feminine energy and create what? It will manifest what you want. That's how it works. That's the law of gender. All right? Here's a point about indecision. Indecision. Page 98. So 2 by 2 is on page 98. And then the death of John the Baptist is last paragraph, page 98. Check this out, y'all. The final episode of Gemini The final episode of the Gemini section illustrates the dangers of Gemini's inconsistency. This is a great point. In the story of John the Baptist's death, that's Mark chapter 6, verse 14 through 29, we encounter King Herod, a man who cannot make up his mind. See double-mindedness? You should automatically think Gemini. That's a signal that this is Gemini, astrological. So there's a footnote. Let's read it. Josephus, in his History of the Jews, book 18, chapter 5, mentions the death of John the Baptist at the hands of Herod, but he does not tell us how he died. The beheading, y'all know what happens when someone gets beheaded, right? The body is cut in two. What about when they're cut in, what is it called? Cut asunder. That's two. Two is Gemini, right? So anyone whose death was by being cut asunder or beheaded, Gemini. The beheading, the division of the body into two pieces, is probably Mark's invention. Even the head on a platter looks like an astrological detail. Y'all see that? Imagine somebody's head on a platter. What's the shape of the platter? A circle. Right? What's at the outer ring of the circle? Each of the 12 constellations. There's a head on the platter. Let's say a man's head. Where do men live? On earth. What's the shape of the head? Roughly a circle. So the earth, y'all got it? Planet Earth and the constellation. So that visual imagery, you can easily associate it to have an astrological meaning, as I just said. All right? Even the head on a platter looks like an astrological detail. The earth surrounded by the circle of the Zodiac, rather than a historical one. Y'all see that? Now, I'm not arguing the historicity of it or not. Y'all already know my position. In my opinion, these are all allegorical stories. I'm simply wanting to draw your attention to the astrological component, so you'll have the information and not be ignorant of it. You can come to your own conclusions. I mean, I don't have a horse in the race about what you do with your life. That's on you. Let's go back to the paragraph. With Gemini, says Carter, there is a lack of decision and a good deal of wavering. So anybody in a scripture who hems and haws, they don't make a decision, they don't take action, they wait to the last minute, right? They have enough information to make a decision, but they don't. Whenever you read about something like that in the New Testament or the Old Testament or in any religious book, that's signaling Gemini, okay? Clear? All right. So Herod had married Herodias, the former wife of his brother. Close relation, right? His brother's wife. Wow, that's horrible. Okay, y'all see? Family relation signals Gemini. And had locked John the Baptist in prison for speaking out against such an illicit union. Herod was certainly ambivalent in his approach to John. He feared and admired him. He feared and admired John, and would often listen to what John had to say. But his vanity and vacillation, twin pitfalls of Gemini, back and forth, right? And being vain, led him, that's Herod, at his birthday celebrations to make a reckless promise which brought about John's death. He makes his stepdaughter the Geminian offer of half is two. He offers his stepdaughter half of his kingdom for dancing so well. Now, y'all know when y'all first heard that story, up until now, you said, why would somebody offer half of their kingdom? That's stupid, right? That's foolish. You'd have to be crazy to offer half of your kingdom. It didn't make sense, right? The first time you heard it, and it still doesn't make sense to you to this day, right? Y'all be honest. The reason why is because it's astrological in nature. It's communicating astrological information, okay? Gemini, the constellation Gemini. All right? This is a cautionary tale depicting the catastrophic results which will follow when we are incapable of exercising the legion of contradictions, see the double-mindedness, which inhabit our carnal selves. Okay? When I was younger, we used to say shoot or dribble. You know, shoot or dribble. Make a decision. All right, let me go back to page 21 and see if I didn't cover it. Oh, I remember what I didn't cover. Let me see how long will it take to cover this. I don't know if I want to do it. So let's see, y'all. Do I want to go through this? I'm on page 90. The Gerasene demonic. The Gerasene demonic. I'm trying to figure out if I want to go through this or one second. Oh, Jairus' daughter and the woman with the flow of blood. I think y'all can go through that on your own. Okay? You'll find it on page 90 through 94. But give me 1 second. And by the way, astrologically, Gemini is Castor and Pollux. The stars Castor and Pollux. Castor and Pollux. That's Gemini, the two stars. Okay? Well, they're often they're often referred to as the two twins. Let me clarify that. All right? Castor and Pollux are often referred to as the two twins. So the two twins would be Gemini. All right? Oh, boy. I'm searching to see if there's anything I want to bring out. Give me 1 second. So yeah, there's something I want to bring to y'all attention here. There are two things I want to bring to y'all attention. Okay, so page 91. Page 91. So this is the story about the man who was possessed of legion, many demons. Y'all know the story. First paragraph on page, let me set it up. I'll start on page 90. Let me set it up, the bottom paragraph. As JC and his companions leave the boat, they are confronted by a man with an unclean spirit who lives amongst the tombs and is so violent that no chains are strong enough to bind him. Seeing JC in the distance, the man runs and worships him. JC commands the demon to leave, but the man cries out, "I beg you, in capital God's name, don't torment me." The story continues. This is coming from Mark chapter 5, verse 9 through 13. I'm going to read it. Then JC asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." Legion, referencing a Roman legion. Keep that in mind. A legion representing a Roman legion. How many soldiers are in a legion? And he begged JC again and again not to send him out or not to send them out of the area. Isn't that curious? Why would he beg? Why would the legion beg JC not to send the demons out of that area? Why do they want to stay in that area? Y'all ever thought about that? Something was in that area, obviously, that they liked. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged JC, "Send us amongst the pigs. Allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the evil spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000, so about 2,000 pigs, rushed down the steep bank. Remember, they're standing at a hillside. So the herd of about 2,000 pigs rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Mark 5, 9 through 13. Y'all think about that. The demons didn't want to leave that area. They wanted to stay in that area where there had to be a motive, a reason, right? Yes, of course, yes. But why would the demons want to go into a herd of pigs? Why would they want to do that? In the religion that I was in, they said it was for some probably debased sexual reason. But they could have done that on their own, right? Or if it was for some debased sexual reason, why would the pigs run off the edge of the hillside and drown? Seems to me that they would have wanted to stay in the pigs and get their rocks off, right? Or did JC say, okay, you can go into the pigs and then kill the pigs? Is that what happened? Why would he be so cruel to the pigs? The pigs were innocent. They didn't do anything to deserve to have these demons put into their bodies, and then worse than that, run them over the hill so that they fall off of the hill and drown, which means a painful death. Is that what a loving deity does to his creation? Y'all see this story got all kind of problems with it. See, is your God that cruel to animals? Isn't that cruelty to animals? He's a liar, a trickster rather. Yeah, you can go into the pigs, but then he lets them go in and then he kills the pigs. Pigs were innocent. They did nothing to deserve any of that. Or could it be that that the demons wanted to get into the pigs so that the demons themselves could run the pigs off of the side of the hill, because the demons wanted to get back into the water. Y'all see? Why would the demons want to get back into the water? Because they're Raphaim. They're Oannes. They're the Dogon. They live in the water. Y'all got it? They want to go back and get in the water. Remember the half man, half fish? Mermaid? Y'all remember Oannes? That's why they wanted to get back. That's why they wanted to go into the pigs, so that they can get back in the water. And in the water, they're going to stay in that area until they found somebody else's body they could inhabit. In other words, capture their consciousness and take it over. Clear? Okay? Plain as day. All right? So these demons are Raphaim. They're Oannes, the Dogon, so-called mermaids, half man, half fish. These are the entities that the Christians secretly pray to, though they may not know. But the Pope knows, the higher-ups knows, those who are in the inner house and who are at the upper levels, they know. And you see the reverence by what? Their mitre, their mitre. The Pope is the big fish, right? Catholics are the big fish. They wear the big mitre. In the Middle East, there is a branch of religion, or there's a religion. They wear a thinner but still tall mitre, but much smaller than the Catholic Church. And then we have the Hebrew Israelites, many of which they wear the small mitre, right? They're the little Moors, the small fish in the pond. Okay, so that religion in the eastern part of the world, they're the mid-sized fish in the pond. But the Hebrew Israelites, their mitre doesn't go off of their head. They're the small fish in the pond, the little Moors, as they called us, in a derogatory way. The little Moors, the blackamoors, etc., okay? So when they come out in front of you with those mitre or the mitre on, they're stepping out in front of you as Oannes or a Dogon. Okay? pushing, speaking Roman law, the Holy See, right? The Holy See, Roman law, canon law, Admiralty Maritime law. Y'all see that? The law of the dead. All right, I hope everybody sees that. So that's how that story goes. There's another aspect, another thing here. Pigs. Why pigs? Pigs have a split hoof. Like, is it the hoof of the pig is split? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like that? Split in two. The hoof is split, or hoof is split in two. Gemini signifies Gemini. What else is significant here in this story? Well, a Roman legion, according to this author, is 6,000 troops. Y'all remember 6? 6 is what? 6 is a perfect number in nature. Remember we read that a couple videos ago? 6 is a perfect number in nature. Because why? Because it is the first masculine number and the first feminine number. Put them together, you get 6. In multiple ways, you get the number 6. Okay? So it is a perfect number. Now, I pointed out 2, 3, 4 videos ago that 666, we were taught in religion that it means an imperfect man, imperfect, imperfect, imperfect. Like emphasizing that man is imperfect, man is sinful. But according to nature, 666 represents what? Perfection, perfection, perfection. Y'all see that? Now here we see a Roman legion is 6,000 soldiers, 6,000 troops. So they made a legion 6,000. Why? To harmonize with nature. They wanted to use 6, perfect, right? Perfect number. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. The point is this. The demon called them legion, but it's only 2,000. But a Roman legion is 6,000. So 2 is Gemini, right? 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6. That takes us back to a perfect number. 6,000. So 2,000 signifies Gemini. Why? Because of 2. And it's perfect. Why? 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Go back and watch the video that I did where I explain all of that. All right? And y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking just about the meaning of numbers in nature. That's all I'm talking about. Okay? No hocus pocus. All right? So there are 2,000 pigs called legion. So this could not have reference to a Roman legion, which is 6,000. So these numbers are symbolic. Now, of course, someone can argue that they're not. I wouldn't take issue with it. And a pig has a split hoof. The hoof is split into 2. Again, 2-ness. Gemini. All right? Okay, so I think see if I want to bring anything else out here. So the next couple pages is talking about personality disorders, okay? Oh, this is very interesting. Check this out, y'all. Now remember, this is in the context of personality disorders, or let's say things like schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder. There's a bunch of them. Okay, there's a whole bunch of them that we can associate with this story about Legion, the demon-possessed man and the legions. Maybe he was schizophrenic. Some people might say that. That doesn't explain the part about the pigs, but people can say that. Or maybe because of his demonic possession, he had these crazy personalities. Okay, multiple personalities, or it could be anything. Okay. So that could have just been a manifestation of this demon-possessed man. Okay? He had many personalities, unpredictable. Okay? Now keep that in mind. Remember we talked about masculine energy? Masculine energy. Well, check this out, y'all. Check this out. Page 92. Masculine energy. Everyone, man or woman, everything contains masculine energy. This is the Hermetic law of gender. Masculine energy mixes with feminine energy. Feminine energy is the creative energy. Masculine energy is the will, the strong sense of I am, I know me, I know myself. This is my goal, my purpose in life. They come together and they create what we call today manifesting. Note this. Now, key point is that someone outside of yourself can use their masculine energy to overtake your masculine energy. In other words, knock you out and take your woman and produce babies with your woman. That's the essence of what's happening. So if you're weak and scrawny, little weakling, a chump, right? Don't know how to defend yourself, never even tried to learn. You're just a weakling, right? Y'all know what we call y'all men who are like that. Okay? Someone else's stronger masculine energy, they know who they are. They have a clear goal in mind for themselves and for you. And they direct their masculine energy on you, and it pushes yours down. And then takes your feminine energy, have sex with it, and produces offspring. What's that offspring? The offspring is your paradigm, your beliefs and your values, your limitations that you put on yourself, things that you're not even aware of, the music you like, the TV shows you watch, the subjects that you're good in and not good in. Why do you think so many so-called black people are poor in math and poor in reading? You think because they are naturally poor in math or poor in reading? No, that's somebody else's masculine energy interacting with your feminine energy, because your I am, your masculine energy is so weak. They're using natural law against you. So now let's deal with this a little bit here. Page 92. practitioners of Asogoli's system of personality integration, psychosynthesis, often refers to the crowd-like nature of the human psyche. And Gemini Salman Rushdie, born June 19, 1947, writes, y'all hang with me, okay? Hang with me for a minute. I got to cover some stuff, give you some. He writes, oh, the disassociation of which the human mind is capable, marvel Saladin gloomingly. Well, let me repeat that, gloomily. Oh, the conflicting selves, jostling and juggling within these bags of skin. Self-doubt, right? Self-doubt. No wonder we are unable to remain focused on anything for one time. No wonder we invent remote control channel hopping devices. If we turn these instruments on ourselves, we discover more channels than a cable or satellite mogul ever dreamed of. This comes from a book called Satanic Verses, page 519. I bet that scared a lot of y'all. So what is he telling us here? He's telling us that inside of our own brains, we have conflicting ideas about ourselves and conflicting ideas about the world. Well, why are they conflicting? Well, maybe you got somebody else's masculine energy coming in on you, and at an unconscious level, you don't really buy it. You're not sure. You're trying to work all of this stuff out, but you're not aware that there's a psychic attack, that you're receiving shots, psychic attacks, and you're trying to deal with these doubts, right? Until eventually what? You accept it. And then you get into a situation where they're calling personality disassociation. But anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. That's not what I want to show y'all. P.D. Ospinski, that sounds Polish, who claims to be following an ancient esoteric system. Okay, so here we are. Ancient esoteric system. We're getting somewhere. Tells us that the fragmented, that is a disassociated personality, full of contradictions, is the normal condition of all human beings. Now, I would say, Han Uman, listen, man is divided into different eyes. Y'all see that? He doesn't, remember the I am, that's the masculine energy. The masculine energy, you should be, there's one I know who I am. I know my nationality. I know my birthrights. Okay? I know my ancestors. I know my heritage. I know my culture. I know all of the languages and dialects that we spoke. There's one I. But when you have many different I's, that means you don't know which one you are, right? That's a weak masculine energy. That's my point. Listen, man is divided into different I's or groups of I's which are unconnected with each other. That's what the media is doing to you. Then if one knows one thing, a second I knows another thing. A third I knows yet another, and they never meet. What kind of understanding is possible? Y'all see that? So they're acknowledging this feminine energy. This comes straight out of the law of gender. The seventh Hermetic Principle. This is the state of an ordinary man's being. No, it is not. This is the state of a man's being who has been denationalized and brainwashed with maritime admiralty, canon, law, religion. That would be Catholic and Muslim. They have all of these different eyes. And then you're taking, what do you call it? There's psychic attacks. All of that, you're being attacked psychically through media, in the institutions where you're intimidated. Even the young, I remember when I was a little boy, just in kindergarten, how we were harassed by the police, intimidated by the police. Yes, I remember that, walking to school, it's clear as day. Teachers and administrators, psychic attack from them. Psychic attacks in books, lies in books, right? Psychic attacks, let's say even nowadays, by the blacks, the Pan-Africanisms, people who will bring records or information to you that discredit and dishonor or even implicate those great men and women who have tried to help us out of sincerity. Or maybe we don't know if they were sincere or not. But they bring all of this negative stuff about these people. But those records come from people who have a history. They are known felons, known traitors, known criminals, known murderers, known rapists, known thieves who steal people's property, steal people's land, steal people's livestock and animals. They're known. They and their ancestors are known to do it. They're known to use institutions and the power of the pen to disinherit, to escheat, to put in bondage, to declassify, to discredit and dishonor and to humiliate and to turn people, a man or woman's people against them. But yet these same so-called researchers or professors, whatever their occupation might be, they don't go and do an expose on the people who put those records together or on the institutions, because if they did do that, it would completely discredit those people and those institutions. And anything that they write, you couldn't believe any of it. So why am I saying this? I'm saying that if you want to help our people, start doing exposés on the people who kept the records, on the institutions, instead of harming our people. How about that? Go do exposés on them. Because when you do that, there's no way you can believe anything that they say. I'm talking about they in their, not in their corporate capacity, but in their capacity as a human, in their personal capacity. Or if it's a more, in either way, in their personal capacity. How about research them, expose them? How many picnics did they go to? How many lynchings were they involved in? How much Escheat have they done? How about that? And then you wouldn't believe any of the stuff that they say that's negative about our people. I don't know if y'all agree with me, but I hope you can at least see what I'm saying. So if someone wants to help the people, how about doing that instead of, our team is at the 50-yard line, the quarterback hands it off. The play is the quarterback is going to hand it off to the fullback to go straight up the middle, instead of you going to the team captain on the other side and telling them what the play is, or instead of you trying to trip the fullback while he's running up the middle. How about you do something, play your position, know what team you're on. Know what team you're on, whether you disagree with these people or not. Know what team you're on and do your role. Roro writes, Roro, you deleted your messages, okay? But I hope y'all can see what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to discredit, dishonor someone who's trying to help us based upon records collected and held by people who have murdered us, stole our property. Their whole intent is unum sanctum and manifest destiny, who have been involved in lynchings, other criminal activity, known felons. Shalom, I would love to see that happen. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's a shame. Robo writes, the truth needs to be exposed. Indeed. So it's not enough to get a book and just start reading it and implicate people who have used their life to help us and who were exterminated because they were helping us. And then you go disrespect them like that? Based upon our enemies' records? And you never brought forth an expose on the credibility of them in their personal capacity, or in the institution that they represented, or their motive for manifest destiny, unum sanctum, etc. And you are aware of these things and you didn't do it? Oh, come on. Come on. Is that poor scholarship? Is it personal attacks? Is it just a feminine disposition? Y'all decide. I'm just saying. So there's a weak I am, a very weak I am masculine energy. As the author points out, they do everything they can to keep you in this mental condition. It says here, man is divided into different eyes or groups of eyes. That means you don't know who you are, which are unconnected with one another. See, you don't know who you are. You don't know you're a Moor. You think that you're African. You think that you're African American. You don't know that you're the rightful heir. You don't know that you are obligated, duty-bound to harmonize with nature. What do you think? You think you're black, Latino, Indian, African American, colored, mulatto, Christian, Catholic, Episcopalian, Seventh-day Adventist? All of these things, right? What else? If the one eye knows one thing, a second eye another thing. In other words, you got all of these different eyes. But they have conflicting knowledge, conflicting beliefs. A third eye, yet another, and they never meet. They never meet. They don't know how they're related. Y'all see that? What's the result? Low masculine energy. That's why, most famously, Noble Drew Ali said what? Know thyself. To paraphrase, he said, when you finish studying everything, go back and study yourself some more. Why would you study yourself some more? So you can maximize your masculine energy so that it will what? Interact with your feminine energy and produce or manifest what you want, right? And because your masculine energy is so high, so strong, what is it going to do? If you want, you can direct it at our oppressor or anybody who you want or a whole group of people. You can direct your masculine energy at them and overtake their weaker masculine energy. Y'all see that? I wonder if this is how the 99th principle works, or the 100th monkey principle works. I'm not sure. It just came to my mind, but that might be how that concept works. Y'all know when you just have to get a small portion of a population to adapt a certain behavior or mindset, and then it will automatically spread. The whole population will adopt that mindset and behavior. Just like that. It may be due to the law of gender. Okay? It may be due to the law of gender. Okay? So this masculine energy can be directed. It can be directed to change other people, to put them mentally under your control without them knowing it. They'll think it's all their idea. Okay? Everything in their own mind will be because they want to. Clear? So let's continue. Ouspensky likens this condition, that's the, all of these different eyes, they don't know who they are, to a house full of servants without a master to control them. That's exactly what it is. Each one does as he pleases, with no one performing the duty to which he was originally assigned. The cook works in the stable, and the housemaid in the kitchen, the footman in the garden, and so on. What is required is a conditioning or a controlling eye. That means you need to know who you are. A steward who will integrate the separate functions and see that each is carried out correctly. You need to know who you are. You need to know which law language you speak. Okay, so that's why Ancient Ibaryath is important. That's another relationship between Ancient Ibaryath and astrotheology. That's another reason why you need to know it and why I'm focusing so much on it. This process of integration, in other words, you know who you are. What's the first thing you should do? Man, know thyself. To know yourself is to do what first? Well, just look at the children, at babies. First they learn who? They learn their mother and their father. Right? You learn your mother, your father, your ancestors, your bloodline, your language. It's simple. Just like that. This process of integration, says Ouspensky, It's a lengthy one, but so important that it is a prerequisite of all spiritual progress. Human inconsistency has fascinated and perplexed the most reflective among us since the beginning of time. And we can all say, quote, "My name is Legion," end quote, with the demon-possessed man, or, quote, "I am large, I contain multitudes," end quote, with Walt Whitman, quote, "When a man lacks discrimination, his will wanders in all directions after innumerable aims," end quote. Y'all see that? That's a lack of having a clear purpose in life. Lack of having short-term goals or even a daily goal. You don't have that? Weak masculine energy. Daily goal or monthly goal, projects and goals and milestones with a clear sense of who you are. If you don't have these things, weak masculine energy, well, guess what? Your oppressor's strong masculine energy has produced you. You are the socially engineered African American, the socially engineered feminist, the socially engineered, in many cases these days, there's some chemicals, right? Some genetic warfare taking place, homosexual or transvestite. All accomplished by using the natural law of gender. We lost a connection, so let me repeat that. All of this is done by using the natural law of gender as a weapon against you and against our people, not just in North America, but globally. This is the mechanism of our oppressors, the hybrid's power. Clear? So they have us polarizing in dishonor. Therefore, the natural law of cause and effect will be very evident and obvious in your life. You'll be wondering why you have suffered so much. You'll wonder why you get so much punishment and dissatisfaction and failure, sabotage, all of the other stuff that goes along when you break the Most High's commandments, which are natural law. That's right. So you will be polarized in dishonor. If y'all don't know what I mean by that, go back and watch the last 3, 4, 5 videos that I did. Polarized in dishonor, using the law of what? Rhythm, the natural law of rhythm, to polarize you. Okay? I have a question for y'all. If you can describe how each of the 7, or which of the 7 Hermetic laws are being used in this instance to keep us in the curses. If y'all can do that, or if you would like to attempt to do it, write it in the comment section of the video. Okay? Write it in the comment section of the video. And again, we see these natural laws in the book of the law. They are there. Okay, it's in not just the New Testament, it's in the book of the law. Remember, the New Testament and the rest of the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, is supposed to have its origin in the law. Okay? So all of this is present. All right? So let's continue. There's not really too much I want to cover. I just want to bring a few more things to your attention. When a man lacks discrimination, his will, remember, the will, your willpower, that's masculine energy. His will or his willpower wanders in all directions. He has weak willpower, weak masculine energy. Okay? Quote, let me continue. Says the Hindu classic, the Bhagavad Gita. All right? But the spiritual writers do not stop at mere observation. The object of all spiritual practice, whatever the tradition, is the transformation of legion into union. So you go from not knowing anything about yourself, in this case, your nationality, you're involved in all of these religions. You're supposed to come back to nature, back to natural law, back to nature, follow the Most High's commandments. The fashioning of a coherent and consistent unity, that's man know thyself, from the 2,000 fragments of the personality. Y'all see that? The 2,000 demons that were in the demon-possessed man. The multiple diversions and distractions, both internal and external, that's the media that's hypnotizing you. That's their masculine energy, which manifests a dilatonism and indecision. In doing so, however, one has not to destroy the individual elements. The glyph of Gemini, we remember, has parallel lines, separate but joined. I want to skip down that, okay? What is required is equilibrium and harmony among the warring members. In other words, you need that one controlling I. What is that? That's knowledge of self, your nationality, and being harmonic with nature. Easy, simple, right? If we can achieve this, if you learn your nationality and you polarize and honor using the law of rhythm, we can avoid the distorting and disfiguring effects of self-deception, symbolized so graphically in Mark's story as inflicted bruising and wounding. So that kind of goes along with what Kanye West said. He said that slavery is a decision. Okay? There's some construction that's about to happen, so I'm going to sign off. Okay? Let me just say this last thing. The star Syath. Let me go, y'all. There's some maintenance men here. We'll pick this up later. This down to all the Moors. Make sure y'all support my project. Buy my books. Come to the class on Saturday. Enroll in the other class. And make sure y'all support my project to write the book of the law in Ancient Ibaryath in modern English.